Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This evening I've made it out to Dungeness for a afternoon sunset shoot for a fantastic gorgeous evening. I'm here camping out overnight, doing a beach wild camp as well. So yeah, working out to hopefully be a fantastic shoot. Trying to get obviously sunset this evening, doing a bit of astrophotography tonight, weather permitting, and also a sunrise shot as well. Hopefully, yeah, going to be really fantastic. I visited this location last year with my camera club. However, that was a day shoot, and I know a number of compositions that I captured on that shoot were really interesting, probably some of my best work that I did last season. And this season I wanted to come back here with this lovely glorious light that we've got at sunset to hopefully capture another couple. So let's have a look what I come up with today. Evening.
Hi there. Nice evening.
Oh, lovely, isn't it? Hopefully the clouds are catched and it'll be even fantastic.
Yeah.
So capturing the iconic composition here at Dungeness of this boat with the lovely sort of tram lines leading up to it, and obviously some of the dereliction that you've got all sprawled around this area. Yeah, it's lovely decay and rot everywhere that you look within this location, and to be honest, it's a fantastic photographer's paradise here. And now we've actually got some really interesting light. I've got this composition set up here. So I captured this composition when I was here last year. However, what I wanted to do is capture it in some really interesting light. And now as the sun's sort of setting, we're about an hour or so before the actual sunset, but it's casting that lovely side light that you get at sunset onto the actual side of the boat. And where the position that the sun will be sitting, which is slightly off to the left hand side as you're looking at the boat, it's creating some lovely sort of detail and shadows on this side of the boat here as well. So I've got the camera set up on f11 ISO 100 on 100th of a second as the shutter speed. Now, rule of thirds wise, I've positioned the boat over onto the left hand side. However, I have got the horizon line going straight through the middle of the image. Now, arguments should say, is that correct? Isn't it correct? Should you have it on the lower third or the upper third? However, I'm quite happy with that because we've got some detail over in the far distance in the sky. It's working out really quite nicely, and we've got some strong interest in the foreground as well. So balancing it sort of 50-50 as such, working out really quite nicely for this composition, I feel. And shooting at f11, I've obviously got that sharpness throughout the image itself, and hopefully working out really quite well. So I'm using the camera's smooth zone autofocus and focusing onto the actual boat itself and working out really quite nicely for that image. And yeah, I think this one is going to work out really lovely with obviously the leading lines of the tram lines leading up to the boat itself, with some of the grasses as well wisping around in there at the same time, will hopefully work out to be a really strong composition. There's a couple of other photographers here, so it's obviously one of the key locations to come and visit, as we already know. And yeah, hopefully we'll find another composition or two, or may well stick with this one, who knows. So with this next composition, I've still got the main subject as the boat that I've been shooting, but I've come round to the side of it and got some lovely light hitting the rust and the decay of this boat. bit of a tricky composition in the respect of setting up the camera is okay, and lovely subject with obviously the boat on the left hand side rule of thirds, and some of the winch system, or the rusted winch system that was used to obviously haul it up the side of the shingle beach here on the right hand side rule of thirds. That's pretty straightforward. Camera settings as well, 18mm, f11, ISO 100, 1/25 of a second. That's pretty okay. However, using the 10-second timer, because what I'm having to do with my shadow is casting a really big obviously shadow across the actual shingle beach. So what I'm obviously having to do is press the 10-second timer, move back to near the vlogging camera, and pretty much lay flat on the floor to obviously reduce any likelihood of my shadow coming into the composition, because what I don't really want is anything like that in the actual final image. I don't mind being able to sort of clone out a little bit of obviously the shadow that's being created by the actual camera itself, and possibly I could drop it down a little bit more, but I'm actually quite liking the actual composition here with the level of the tripod here, how high it's off the floor. Yeah, but having to lay down onto the shingle beach is obviously one of those things you need to do sometimes in photography. So just thinking about the post-production aspect of the image is how can you minimize the need to sort of clone this, that and the other out of it, if you can actually think about where your shadow is, and actually then sort of think about actually if I can reduce that at all, reduce any distractions within it, and then obviously lay down on the floor is what I needed to do for this actual composition. But absolutely fantastic. As you can see from the light obviously that's behind you onto my face, is absolutely amazing. I may be even tempted to actually go around to the opposite side and then get obviously an image in sort of 180 degrees from where I am at the moment, because this is absolutely lovely. Okay, yeah, it's only one subject matter that I'm taking it, but that's the thing with something like this that's got so much interest, so much detail within it. Yeah, it pretty much could be shoot from any angle, and I don't necessarily need to then traipse around anywhere else, even though there's a wreck over there, several over in that direction. It's an absolute paradise for photography here when the conditions are like this. Makes it even better. And it's absolute silent as well. Just the faint sort of words on the breeze. Absolutely beautiful evening. And that's one thing you kind of forget sometimes about when you're coming out to do your photo trips is, yeah, you're obviously concentrating and focused on the actual composition, the light, setting up the camera and everything, and sometimes you're not always present within the moment. This is really lovely. Absolutely fantastic. Hey ho. Let's get back to the photography though. Coming around to this side of the boat now, working out really interesting. I've got some wood that was possibly part of a shack or something here, obviously that's collapsed completely, but creating some lovely foreground interest. So this image, I'm actually doing a focus stack. I've got the camera set up on f11, ISO 100, about 1/125 of a second as the base image, and f5.6 on the f-stop, exposing or focusing on obviously the wood in the foreground, taking one image and then using the same settings but focusing on the actual boat itself. And actually now, as the light, let's wake the camera up, come on, quick. The light on that boat is absolutely fantastic. So also with the composition as well, what I've actually been able to do with the boat itself is use it to obscure the power station in the background. There's a nuclear power station here that's been decommissioned, and using the boat itself, I'm trying to obviously hide that as much as possible because it's not a very photogenic building itself. It's practical but not photogenic, and using obviously the boat itself, trying to obscure that. And also then on the left hand side of the image, just to obviously balance it out, not have any sort of blank skies, I've got one of the lighthouses here as well. So yeah, again, working out to be really interesting as an actual composition. And as the light sort of peeking in and out throughout the clouds, working out really lovely. I think I'm just going to take another image just to make sure. Yeah, happy with that one. For the final composition, I've come around the other side of the boat now, and I've got the railway lines or the tram lines leading up to the boat itself coming down into the bottom right hand corner of the composition. But I've put the camera on to f/22 because I want to create that lovely sort of starburst effect of the sun. Now the sun itself has actually just gone behind a bank of clouds, so the light is really significantly dropped. However, there is a thin band where there's obviously clear sky just below that cloud, so hopefully when the sun does dip just above the horizon but below that cloud is then when you're actually going to get that final composition. And I'm really quite liking that, with obviously the light that it will obviously create on the side of the boat as well. Lovely illuminating of the rust on these tram lines as well. Will hopefully working out right. But yeah, it's going to be a very small window of opportunity for this one, and hopefully working out really quite well. So a couple of test shots I've taken already is at f/22, ISO 100 and 1/8 of a second and 1/4 of a second, as I'm just obviously exposing for the shadows and the highlights as well with both those compositions or both those images. And yeah, hopefully timing it really well for this last one, and it's only going to be about sort of a 5 minutes window that I'm going to get. Hopefully then snap off several images, and yeah, hopefully one of them will work. So it's worked out to be a fantastic evening shoot this evening. Lovely light, and now it's obviously the sun's completely set. Got a fantastic sort of orangey glow on the horizon there. So, and lovely above head, clear skies. So working out really well for my next shoot, which would be some astrophotography. And yeah, taking one subject matter but multiple compositions of it has worked out really quite interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because I've not had to rush around finding different locations to actually shoot. Basing myself on this boat and working out really quite nicely, working yourself around it and looking at different compositions but with the one set subject, is worked out to be a really relaxed and enjoyable shoot, and making the most of the actual conditions that I was able to capture this evening as well. Added bonus as well, chatting to two other photographers that obviously have a love for landscape photography, Noel and Peter as well. Great guys, great chat as well. And that's a lovely thing about photography, isn't it? We're all in the game together, and it's lovely to sort of share that passion with others, socially distanced though, which is the key thing. And yeah, I mean, absolutely lovely, and hopefully the images have come out well, which obviously you've already seen. And yeah, I really appreciate obviously everyone watching. If it is your first time watching, please consider subscribing. If please leave us a comment as well, as I really do enjoy those comments. And until next time, take care.